Schools in Australia have evolved to meet the needs of society. Examining the development of schools provides insight into how our society is changing and allows us to measure the speed of these changes. Many people forget that Australia had an education system before the arrival of the First Fleet. Prior to European settlement, Aboriginal children were taught by their parents and other community members. The skills they learnt were relevant to their gender, as Aboriginal communities had distinct gender roles. Aboriginal languages are oral in that they have no written form, so children learnt their history, laws and mythology through artwork, stories, songs and dances. Upon reaching adulthood, Aboriginals would be expected to fully contribute to their communities. Adulthood traditionally began with an initiation ceremony for boys and marriage for girls, and this would nominally occur around the age of 14. In 1788, the First Fleet arrived, bringing European settlers to Australia. Captain Arthur Phillip, the governor of the colony, opened the first school in 1789. This school was run by two convicts, William Richardson and Isabella Rossen, who taught the children basic literacy and numeracy skills. Prior to the 1850s, parents were expected to bear the costs of their children's educations. However, in 1848, Governor Fitzroy set up the Board of National Education, which would open up government-run schools which would accommodate Australia's 25,000 children. Around this time, Australia was experiencing a gold rush. Schools originally set up on the Tenser goldfields would be moved to more permanent locations if the goldfields proved successful. The primary school that I attended, Omeo Primary School, which was established in 1866, was one such school. In the early 1900s, new pedagogical strategies were being implemented. These strategies were the result of research conducted by academics. They included questionable strategies that relied upon heavy repetition, such as learning by rote and dictation tests. However, this period also saw the introduction of new subjects such as science, nature study, and poetry. During this time, the purpose of school was to give a general education and teach good behaviour. However, in the second half of the century, a shift occurred. As technology improved, a need for a more educated workforce began to arise. To ensure that Australian schools were producing a better educated workforce, the government gradually increased the compulsory school reading age. Australia's isolated nature has provided a number of educational hurdles. During the height of the bushranger period, some parents of children who lived in the bush were hesitant to send their children to school, as bushrangers were not above robbing students and teachers. In 1929, ABC Radio began broadcasting educational content which included music, history, storytelling and nature study programs. The School of the Air was set up in 1951 and allowed teachers to use pedal-powered radios to educate students living great distances away in remote parts of Australia. In 2005, there were 16 schools of the air located around Australia. These modern incarnations utilise the internet and high-speed frequency radio transceivers. Today, open-plan classrooms encourage teacher-student interaction and facilitate the implementation of modern education strategies that require social interaction. Today's students have access to various technological devices that teachers can use to encourage learning. These students are probably more familiar with this technology because they have grown up with access to it. The role of the teacher has changed too. Due to the rate at which our society and technology are changing, the teacher is no longer seen as a knowledge expert, but as a learning facilitator. The speed at which technology and society changes correlates directly with changes in our education system. Future teachers should be aware that they will need to undergo training throughout their careers to address these changes.
Created using Powtoon.